Hello, and thank you for watching my channel, Crochet and Knit with Mr. Warren. Today we're going to be talking about the chevron or the ripple, okay? And I'm going to start off with drawing a pattern and showing you and talking to you about the peak and the valley and the field, and also discussing how to keep the sides of the blanket or the side of the scarf going straight. Okay, let's get started. What we're going to do is I'm going to start by drawing the center or the peak, okay, and that's a cluster of 3 crocheted knots, okay. And we're going to talk, we'll just call these double crochets. And those 3 double crochets are going to go into one of the stitches on your chain. That is going to be the peak. The field, what I'm talking about is the field, is going to be these other double crochets that are going to go between the peak and the valley. Okay, and in this case, we're going to say that there's going to be 3 in the field. All right, and that means that it's going to be a shorter ripple or shorter chevron. So if there's going to be 3 in this on this side of the peak, then there's going to have to be 3 on the other side to keep it symmetrical. And each one of those are going to be a double crochet, and they're also going to be going into a single stitch. Now, depending on how far and how long you want your field to be will depend on the base chain when you make your chain using multiples. For example, this will be multiple of 5 because I'm going to use 3 in the field. If I'm going to put 5 in the field, then it would be multiples of 14. So a little bit of math is involved, or you can just kind of do a trial and error thing and start with a chain and work back into it, working on ripples and kind of figure it out. But what I found out is it's just easier to do the math. Okay, so this is going to be the valley, and the valley actually is going to use 3 of your stitches that are in the base chain. But what you're doing is when you make this valley, you're not pulling through the double crochet all the way, so you can cluster and to make a single at the top right here into a single chain. And basically what I'm trying to explain here is if you take this peak and turn it over, it would then become a valley, and then you can just see that these now become peaks and these are valleys. And if I was to draw these 3 circles right here, because this would be the top or the bottom of a chain, that might be a little bit easier to see when I begin making the chain. So now on this side, you're going to have your field, and there's going to be 3, 1, 2, 3, and then over here 1, 2, 3. And you can then go back to another peak right here, this being the peak, these being the valleys. So depending on how far you want your chevron to go would just depend on your base chain. And remember, these are multiples of 5 to have the 3 double crochets in the field, which is going to make a short chevron or short ripple. And the only way I can explain that again is, let me turn this over. This would be kind of an example of short chevrons or short ripples, whereas these would be an example of longer. And that right there is what I'm talking about, the amount of stitches or the amount of knots that you put between each of your valleys and each of your peaks. That's where the math comes in. Okay, so let's talk real quick about how to keep the sides straight. So since we have peak, valley, and we're going to a peak, if I'm going to stop and want this to be the end, then I have to have one stitch left over and 2 double crochets are going to go into this one. And this counts as your turn back when you begin your base chain. This one right here will be your turn back, and then when you turn back you go right into that 3rd chain, and that creates this end right here. And then on the other side, when you get to the end of your chain, there will be 2 into this one, and so that creates half of a peak, and that half of the peak will keep your sides going straight. So I think that's going to be all I'm going to do right here, and let's go ahead and get started on the chain. Hello, and thank you for watching How to Crochet and Knit with Mr. Warren. Okay, we're going to get started on the base chain, and today we're doing the chevron or the ripple. We've been talking about peaks and valleys and also talking about the field. And in this video I'm going to show how to do peaks and valleys and then a field of 3, which is going to make a short, what I call a short chevron or short ripple. So I'm going to start with a slip knot, and that's 2 wraps around the finger. I'm going to wrap around twice. I'm going to take this back loop and I'm going to raise it over the first loop. Then I'm going to take this loop, raise it over that one, and lift. Oh, it slipped off. Let's do this again. I'm going to go 2 loops, take the back loop, raise it over. That one's going to stay on the finger. I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to raise it up, and that makes the slip. We'll start with our base chain. The base chain is going to be in multiples of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to use a bobby pin to place as a marker. I'm going to put it right into that 5th stitch that I made, right there next to my crochet hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to take and put again another marker. These are just going to help me know how many I've made. It's not really going to help me know where to go. If I was going to make a blanket that was going to be, I don't know, 40 inches or so wide, then after I've made about 6 multiples of 5, I might lose count. So now I can count. That's all I'm using my markers for, is mostly for counting. I know I'm at 10 because I've got 2 markers, and 2 times 5 is 10. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Place another marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to place this marker right here, and I'm going to show you now where we're at. And basically where I'm at is I've made the base chain, And in this base chain where I turn back, right here where I'm going to make this turn back and go into this chain, is going to be right there where this marker is. So I'm going, since I'm doing a double crochet, I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to turn right back into where the marker is, right into this where the marker is. I'm going to pull through the chain. I have my 3 loops for my double crochet, and I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to pull through 2. And now I've just made the turn back. I just made my turn back into right there, and that's where the turn back is, and we went right back into that chain, which counts as my first 2. That's going to be important because that's what's going to help keep my sides of my blanket or my scarf, keep my sides straight. I'm going to go ahead and pull this marker out. And then I'm going to go into the next stitch, and I'm going to do 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. That's 1, 2, and 3. Try to keep that chain straight, no twists. Okay, so there is my turn back and my first 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm at the valley for my cluster, and this is where I'm going to do crochet into the next 3 chains, but I'm not going to pull through to make complete double crochets. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go right into this next stitch. I'm going to pull through the chain. Now to make my double crochet, I'm going to pull through 2. Now, however, to complete a double crochet, I would pull through again, but this time I'm just going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull through 2 only again. That gives me 3 loops. I'm going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull through 2 only. So I just used up 3 of my stitches in my chain. Now I'm going to pull through all 4 of those loops. Yarn over, pull through all 4 of the loops, and I'm going to pull that down nice and tight. And then I'm going to do my field of 3, yarn over, go into the next chain, double crochet, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now I'm going to be at the peak. This is important that I'm going to put 3 double crochets right into this next stitch. All 3 double crochets will go into the same stitch. That's 1, 2, and 3. 3 double crochets into that same stitch. Do my next stitch, which is going to be my field. And I guess what I'm talking about when I say field, it's more or less just this is what makes the length of your ripples or the length of your chevron that's between the valley and the peak is what I'm talking about when I talk about the field. and this one is 3. I have another video where there's 5 in between, which just makes a longer. It's the same exact concept. It's just in the beginning of the chain part, when you're making the chain, it's important to know that it was the multiples of 5. In the other video I have, it's multiples of 14 to make a field of 5. All right, I'm going to do the valley. I'm going to yarn over and go into my next stitch. Now remember, in the valley, you don't pull through all. You pull through the chain, pull through 2. Yarn over, right there's my marker. Pull through 2 only. Yarn over, I'm going to go right into this next stitch. Pull through the chain, pull through 2. So I've pulled through half. Okay, there's my 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to yarn over, pull through all 4. Pull it down tight. Yarn over. Go right into this next chain, next stitch. I'm going to do a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and then there's my last one, and I'm going to put 2 into the last one. 1 and 2, right back into that same stitch. And what I'm doing there is I'm creating half of the peak. Okay. Now there is the pattern that we drew out to begin with. Okay. So that was 4 multiples of 5. Okay. And if you keep your multiples at an even number, it will end with your peaks at each end, which is important. I guess well, I'm going to say it's important. That's just the way I like to do it. Okay, now, again, let's take a look real quick. Turn back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There's the cluster. 1, 2, 3 in the cluster. 1, 2, 3 in the field. 3 into the same one for the peak. 1, 2, 3 in the field. 3 in my valley. 1, 2, 3 in the field, and 2 on the end. And keeping those 2 on the end is very important to keep everything symmetrical. Now, all you got to do is, if this is where you're going to change colors, you change colors, or if you're going to do 2 rows and change colors, that's kind of what you're going to do in your design of your pattern. This is just basically to show you the peaks and the valleys and the 3 in the field. I'm going to turn back and do one more row. So when you get to the end, you're simply going to chain 3 because you're doing a double crochet. 1, 2, 3. Now when you turn, just like you would a scarf or anything, you turn your work. Now I'm going to try to show you this. Right here, I'm going to pull on this knot or this double crochet. And right here, where I'm connected, I want to go right back into this one. I want to go right back in to where I'm connected. That's just like if I'm making half of that peak, or if I'm making a peak. So I went right back into that one with another one. Then I have 3, 1, 2, 3 that I'm going to go into for the field. 1, 2 and 3. There's my 3 in the field. And I'm at the cluster. I'm going to go right into the next one. I'm going to pull only through the first two. Oh, hang on, let me do this again. Yarn over, go right into there, pull through the chain, pull through the next two, yarn over, right there's the center of my valley, pull through two, yarn over, go into the next one, pull through two, there's my four, now pull through all four, I'm going to pull straight into the next one, pull through two, make that double crochet right into the next one, make your double crochet, yarn over. On your third one, let me show you something here, if you kind of know you're in the right spot, is after that third one, you should be, the peak should be the center of those three. Let me see if I can show you. So now I'm up here on my second row. When I put 3 for the peak, it's going to be right there. My third one should end right there. Then there's my 3 in the center. So this is what I'm talking about right here. On my next row, those next 3 will go right there in the peak. And that way I pretty much know that I am staying straight on with my blanket or my scarf. And I have created some blankets and scarves where I've weaved in 2 different colors, and really making some cool designs with weaving when I crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Those are my 3 right into the same one for the peak. I don't have any videos on the way I weave in one color. I mean, weave together 2 colors or 3 colors. But I've thought about making some videos for that. I'd like to, now that I kind of realize that there's actually some people out here watching my videos. No, don't forget, would you please subscribe? I mean, you know, you don't have to, but it's greatly appreciated. I just hope everybody's learning something from it and enjoying the crochet part of it. That's what I really... All right, here's this valley. Again, yarn over. You're going to go right into that. Pull only through 2. Yarn over, go right there. You are in the center of the valley on that second one. Pull right through. Yarn over, right into the next one. Now I have my 4 loops. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Okay, cool. Yarn over, go right there into the next one. Pull through, make my double crochet. Now here's where I'm going to end with 2 into the same stitch at the end. That was my second double crochet. Right there's my third one. Double crochet. Alright, now my 2 right into the very, very end, right there. And then, okay, sometimes it just depends. Sometimes I just go into the big part, which is easier. Sometimes I'll yarn over and I'll try to go right into the knot. So it's just kind of your preference. Okay, I like to kind of just go right into that big area. It's a little easier to just stick it in there, I guess, what you will call it. Pull through and make your double crochet. And now remember, you got to have 1 more. Yarn over, pull through, and there is your half. Okay, that's where I'm going to stop today's video, and that is the valleys and the peaks, and also the field of 3, which makes a short chevron. Okay, I hope you like it. Please subscribe, and I'm going to try to get back with some more videos. Thank you.